you, Mom. God, it's weird. Thank you so much.
I'm really relieved now. I can tell everybody to...
Mr. Fresneda looks like Bob Marley with his dreadlocks. And that is kind of fitting because today's DNA test result may leave him singing No Woman, No Cry. Mr. Thompson wants to prove that Mr. Fresneda is not really the father of Ms. Jasmine Robinson, who Mr. Fresneda calls his beloved daughter. Here is why Mr. Thompson, who has never met Ms. Robinson, thinks she won't be beloved no more.
Me and her mother had relations while Miss Fresneda was away. When Miss Fresneda came back into the picture, I stopped seeing Sonia and she was pregnant. When the child was born, the family members came to me stating, you know, that she looks like me and things of that nature.
Never, really. What a shock that must be. Imagine waking up one day and learning that some bald man may be your father when your real dad has such beautiful locks of hair. That would crush me, personally. Seriously, guys. Anyway, what makes Mr. Thompson so certain anyway, and why would he just reach out today?
It's sorry to say, but, you know, I got a phone call saying that she had passed away. And I was like...
Are you speaking of Jasmine's mother, Ms. Robinson's mother?
Yes, and it was her wishes to say that it was Mr. Fresneda's baby. They raised her, but I'm here today.
Yikes. You learn that your former lover died, and the first thing you decide to do is see if you can break up her child's life and her memory by coming out about an affair you had with her decades ago. It is little wonder you don't have a lot of hair, Mr. Thompson. Here is how Ms. Jasmine even found out about all of this.
So I had called my Aunt Felicia, and I said, Auntie Felicia, this guy named Ladner Thompson's messaging me on Facebook saying that he's my dad and not my dad. And then she was like, what's his name? And I had said Ladner Thompson, and she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, what? And then she started explaining to me like, oh yeah, he was with your mom while your dad was away.
Do you find it weird that people become experts in skull and face structure when they come to paternity court? Anyway, let's listen to Mr. Fresneda. What does he even have to say about all of this?
All right, so Mr. Fresneda, you had heard of Mr. Thompson.
Yes, we know each other.
You knew who he was.
Yes.
You were fully aware.
Of course.
Okay. And so what was the story as you understood?
I asked her mother, and like he says, on more than one occasion, and she always said to me that Jasmine was my firstborn, and that was good enough for me, Your Honor.
Oh, so this isn't shocking at all to Mr. Fresneda. It seems he knew this day was coming and accepted it completely. That's really rare, especially in paternity court where people get up to all sorts of annoying hijinks. And now let's listen to Jasmine's aunt and learn what her mother was thinking.
Did she ever mention to you that Mr. Thompson could potentially be Ms. Robinson's father?
She always denied it. If we brought it to her attention, she always said that Ladner was not Jasmine's father.
So why were you bringing it to her attention?
Because as Jasmine was growing up, as the aunt, started seeing a little difference.
Yikes. That is never a great sign when it comes to things like this. It's never a great sign at all. Anyway, here's what Mr. Robinson wants if the DNA test proves that he is indeed Jasmine's father.
Exactly.
To yours.
And if she is my child, I want to build a relationship with her, you know, and her kids.
And
all
this
my
was the
kids.
first time you've ever met in person, truly
Yes.
met.
First time I ever laid eyes on her.
How do you feel as you look at her?
I feel hurt. I also feel happy.
Well, that's what the truth is for. If it has to come out, then it has to come out. That's the only way. And now we have the DNA test result that will help us truly learn the truth.
Whether Mr. Thompson or Mr. Fresneda is the father of 29-year-old Jasmine Robinson. The biological father is Mr. Thompson. You are her father.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Lindsay is here to chew gum and break up a happy family, and he's all out of gum. The ironic thing is that this happy family of the Knowles have been in paternity court once before, so they are technically not that happy of a family. Anyway, Mrs. Knowles says she is 100,000% sure that Mr. Lindsay isn't the father of her daughter, and the drama starts immediately.
Mrs. Knowles doesn't want to admit that she was with you and her husband during the same time, and once you're proven to be her child's father, you will fight for custody. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Miss Knowles, when you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell?
Me.
Me.
He was in the hospital with
I was in the hospital room.
Welp. Someone is certainly lying here, and it's hard to know who it is. Is it the flustered Mrs. Knowles, or the super confident and very attractive-looking Mr. Lindsay? Well, it gets better, guys. It gets way better.
You remember getting a text message
Yeah.
that said that this child
I
would
don't
more
have
than
no
likely...
more because I don't have that phone because she sort of took the phone when we broke up. But yes, I do remember that.
What did you do?
I asked her if it was mine or his, and I was told it was more than likely mine, but could have 1% chance of being his.
That's the face of someone who's being a bit economical with the truth, right? Does Mrs. Knowles look even a tiny bit trustworthy to you? She doesn't to me. Let's listen to Mr. Lindsay's evidence of why this is his biological child.
With the evidence that I have here, she was either sleeping with both of us or sleeping with me because she was living at my house during the time that she would have conceded.
Really? Let me see that. Thank you, Jerome. What does this evidence show me,
It's a
Mr. Lindsley?
calendar.
And please describe to the court what it outlines.
She claims that she was back with Mr. Knowles.
Mrs. Knowles says this is a lie because her husband has photographic evidence showing that she was at his house around the period of conception. But there are still some shocking details that wow the court. Like this one right here.
When I had my mom go pick up her stuff, all of her stuff was at a different house, not Mr. Lindsley's.
Yeah, because she
apartment.
destroyed my house as she moved her stuff out, but that's another story.
And so she wasn't even really staying with Mr. Lindsley at the time.
She was staying with a friend of hers.
Okay, maybe the Knowles will be back here in paternity court for the third time because this story is heating up. Through all of this, Mr. Knowles is 110% sure that this child belongs to him, and his wife backs him up.
Look at him. He's got my eyes. He's got my hair. He's even got my,
Your hairline?
yeah, my hairline.
Same hairline? That's what you were showing me?
But he looks like me all around. He's my little prodigy.
I just want to get the results, Your Honor, and be done with him, period. It's chaotic. I want to move on with my family and be away from all this.
Wouldn't that just be grand? But that is not how it works over here, sweetie. But Mr. Lindsay has a shocking confession to make. He says Mrs. Knowles just does this thing where she goes back and forth every 2 months. Listen to him talk.
I really don't know why she changes her mind every 2 months.
Why do you say every 2 months?
We'll quit talking for a month and a half here and there, and then next I know, I'll get a message from a random number talking about, hi.
There is no way, shape, or form I contact this man. I keep
So
blocking every single
you don't
number.
have a Google text message app?
No.
A total complete mess. And you know Judge Lauren knows what she is talking about because she has seen many messes over the years. But Mrs. Knowles says this never happened and she never goes back and forth with anyone. Well, except for that one time when she used to do exactly that.
The only time that I went back and forth with anybody is when I was with my exes, and I left them to be with him because I wanted to be happy. When I found out I was pregnant with my last child when we came to court, I wanted to make things work before we, came and did all that stuff. And I tried to make it work because I was happy there for a while.
Really? Tears? Really? Is Mrs. Knowles here trying to play the victim? And did she just confess that she only went back to her husband after her boyfriend kicked her out? You know what? Mr. Knowles is surely one of God's strongest soldiers. Surely! Gosh, please let us see that DNA test and put this family out of their misery.
Mr. Lindsley, or Mr. Knowles, is the father of 3-month-old Tyler Knowles Jr. The biological father is Mr. Knowles.
I knew he was my child all along. The way he looks at me. You can see in his eyes the way he looks at me.
Ms. Conrad thought it would be a pretty rad thing to have an affair with the milkman, constantly cheat on her husband, and generally be a horrible mother and wife. She thought she would get away with it, but today her daughter is in court to expose her and prove her infidelity. Anyway, Mr. Horton, the father of Ms. Horton, says he isn't sure Ms. Horton is his child.
If she really is mine, I have no idea. I don't know. She was unfaithful all the time, but I raised my daughter since she was little. But I'm getting slack from other family members and friends that say that she's not my daughter because she has blue eyes, and I have brown, the whole family has brown, the mother has brown eyes. There's nobody in my family has blue eyes.
Phew! But Ms. Conrad says it's all a lie, and she is 100 to 200% sure that Ms. Horton belongs to Mr. Horton. Okay, but why not 1,000% then? Ms. Conrad, well, Mr. Horton isn't buying that gobbledygook.
Ms. Horton is not.
Rebuttal. I mean, if you sleep around with different men and we're sleeping at the same time, how can you be sure who the parent is? How can you be sure?
Because I know when I did.
So it is your testimony me that Miss Conrad was sleeping around with
I know
various
it.
men.
My kids can tell you that. She can tell you that. One time we were in the house.
That's a lot of sneaky business, Ms. Conrad. And guess what? Just take a guess. Ms. Conrad admits all of it. She's been cheating quite all right, but she says it isn't all that bad because she just did it when the kids were born, which makes everything just great, doesn't it? But Mr. Horton disagrees a lot.
In that period of time, there was always been affairs, always. In my opinion, if there's many stuck out of it in her, she'd be a porcupine. And that's the way I look at it.
That was wrong.
I just got that. Okay. We want to be respectful in the courtroom.
I've got to be respectful. That's why I put it nicely.
Well, that is surely an interesting way to frame things. You know what? You might be correct that I cheated on you with 10,000 men, but please say it respectfully. But Mr. Horton isn't done. He is 1,000,000% sure that Ms. Conrad was seeing other men during the time Ms. Horton was conceived. Listen to him go.
And we had a mailman that had light hair and blue eyes and had a beauty mark right here. My daughter has blue eyes, blonde hair, and a beauty mark in the same exact spot.
It's cute though.
There was a mailman in
Yes.
your town.
Yes, there was.
Sir, you brought an exhibit.
Yes, ma'am.
Gosh, imagine living with the knowledge that your child may not actually be related to you all this time. And if this is true, then we could probably safely assume that Ms. Horton isn't Mr. Horton's kid. But let's hear from Ms. Conrad and see if this is just a nice accidental coincidence that's totally coincidental.
You had outside relationship.
Yeah, that was after Brenda was born.
But this was
All my
after the children were born. You said, but you know who this mailman is. He's talking
No.
about. You don't even remember this person.
Oh, no, Your Honor. This is new to me.
That's because there was so many of them.
So the milkman, what happened to the milkman?
Hold
now
on.
It's the mailman. It was the milkman.
Wow, this is one messy family. But things are about to get crazier because Ms. Conrad says all of this is a waste of her precious time. Why would she say that? Well, she has had a DNA test done before, and the result was that Mr. Horton was her child's father. And here is what Mr. Horton has to say about that.
Mr. Horton, have you ever seen this paperwork?
That story is fabricated. There was no judge ordered anything. I asked for the DNA test. I never seen nothing. I've been questioning Tony since she's been born, and she's even questioned it. That's the reason why we're here, Your Honor.
Since the day this child was born,
No,
26 years ago, you've questioned whether or not she was yours?
Yes.
So we've got a mailman, a milkman, and a DNA test result that could probably be fake. We don't know what the DNA test is going to tell us, but it will certainly end this mystery once and for all. And let's hear it.
Mr. Horton, you are the father.
Oh my God! Yes! Mommy, you were right! You were right, Mommy!
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Honor.
much. It's been such a blessing.
I'm really relieved now. I can tell everybody to kiss my butt.
Well, listen, you could have just said, I can live with this doubt. Let's
could
never
have,
get
but
the
you
answer.
couldn't.
Right.
You know that feeling when you accidentally pay child support and then only realize your mistake 18 years later? Wait, you don't know that feeling? Well, Mr. Dmer here knows all about it, and that's his claim today. He says he just accidentally agreed to pay child support for Ms. Lee, and he is certainly not her daughter's father.
Into paying child support, Your Honor. They sent certified mail to my mother's house, and I wasn't there. I was in Colorado. And when the certified mail came, my stepdad signed it. So they held court without me and found me in default because I wasn't there. Well, anyways, when I came back from Colorado, it was...
Gosh, that can leave a man extremely bitter. But Ms. Krieger isn't just coming empty-handed. She says she has loads of pictures that will prove her case with basically zero doubt. And here are those explosive pictures.
Jamie as a baby.
Jamie as a little girl.
Yes.
The next picture is
Mr. Dmer.
Mr.
as a
Dmer,
boy.
and you believe they look exactly alike.
Look at him, yeah. How can he deny her?
Do you see the similarity?
Not really, Your Honor.
Miss Lee, were you intimate with anyone else?
Yes, I was.
Okay, that's not really great evidence either, but we'll take it. Our absent father, who accidentally paid child support here, also has something he calls evidence to prove his claim.
The older two children have blue eyes and blonde hair. Jamie's always had darker hair with a hazel or brown.
And you never claimed them or paid child support on them. Why?
Well, because you didn't tag them and you never had me sign
If you were a man and
birth
responsible,
certificate.
you would have signed the birth certificate.
Yeah, exactly. That expression on Judge Lauren's face? Precisely. Because this case is going to get even weirder before it gets better. It might not even get better. So, Mr. Dmer has 2 older children, but he says Ms. Jamie Krieger isn't his daughter because, and get this, she's a fatso.
The older children have blonde hair, blue eyes. Jamie has dark hair, hazel or brown eyes. The older children are more athletic.
Well, every married child is different.
Well, why would she trick me into paying child support like that, Your Honor? I mean, I wasn't even at the hospital when Jamie was born.
You most certainly were.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, but why does the mother sound like the Green Goblin all of a sudden? But this husband and wife spat isn't done yet. In fact, it's not even yet started. Look at them argue.
Oh, it's because her mother was messing around with another fella about the time that Jamie was conceived. I believe
I
a couple
was
of
not,
the
Your
fellas.
Honor.
Yes, you were.
I had been going to church, Your Honor, with his mother, and I had given my life to the Lord, and that is how it happened, because I went off the pill. I said, I'm not having sex again until I'm married.
Imagine being Jaime Lee and sat there watching your parents air out all their dirty laundry. Gosh, I would be so embarrassed for them and for me. And even Judge Lauren agrees.
Now, this is unfortunate, Miss Krieger, Jamie, that you have to hear any of this.
From what I hear, my mom's admitted it was, but it was the sister before me, but he doesn't deny her, and he always gripes about how he had to pay child support on me.
And that leads you to believe that it's about the money.
Yes, that's why it's
Your Honor, the child
a little
support's
bit
been
more.
paid. I've got the final payment right here.
Great! So he paid the child support and was done with that. But that doesn't mean Mr. Dmer had any plans on admitting that Jaime was his daughter, and that's why we are in paternity court today. He also has a few more words for Miss Lee.
It's because her mother's greedy. I mean, when Jamie lived with a lady on the next street behind her mother, the child support check went to the next street over, and her mother got upset.
What I'm trying to get at, Miss Krieger, beyond the money, I mean, this has had to affect you. And I see the tears in your eyes. It's as if she has so much in her heart to say.
That is completely true. What we should be concerned with is the DNA test results, and Judge Lake has that for us today. So who is the father, Mr. Dmer, or somebody else?
Mr. Dmer, you are her father.
Oh.
How do you feel now that you know for sure he's your biological father?
I never had any doubts. It's just been dealing with all this.
Mr. Young says he will fight to the death to avoid being trapped by a child. That's right. He says Ms. Nichols' baby can never be his child, and that she just wants to use the baby to make his life miserable. But what could he have done to Ms. Nichols to make her that mad?
He started denying my daughter before his new relationship. He actually started denying her when I moved out of his house because he was cheating.
Really?
I've known Mr. Young for 19 years. We met when we were 15 years old, and when I met him again on Facebook, you know, we automatically moved in together, you know.
That's a lie. We didn't automatically move in. She hit me up on Facebook, talking about because she been trying to find me.
Yeah, wow, indeed. This potential father says that Nichols was living with her sugar daddy when he met her, and that her baby belongs to the sugar daddy. And Nichols says that a total and complete lie from the depths of hell. Here is what she says happened.
An entire year?
An entire year.
And during that time, you all were having a sexual relationship as well?
Only that,
yes.
You said only that?
Yeah, because it wasn't nothing more. That's all she wanted to do.
You know, there's plenty of statuses on my Facebook where us together. He even had changed his relationship status.
Yikes, Mr. Young. Don't get caught in easy lies like that. If it's gonna be so easy to catch you in a lie, don't even tell the lie. But Mr. Young ain't no slacker either. He's got his own evidence too.
She was telling this man that she was living with, that I was her cousin.
Yes, I absolutely did.
When he was bringing her over to my house, dropping her off, and she telling me that he's just a friend of the family, but couldn't find out
No, I
he was
did
the man
not.
that she was sleeping with.
No, Your
Okay,
Honor.
wait a minute. Who is this man?
He's a friend of mine.
Do you have sex with him?
No, I do not.
You don't have
How
sex?
old is he?
73.
You know what, Nichols? That sounds exactly like a sugar daddy. A 73-year-old man who does any and everything you ask him to. That's a sugar father right there. Lots of sugar, in fact. Too much sugar. Anyway, Mr. Young can't complain too much because he got a lil sugar from the sugar dispensary too. Now let's find out if Nichols really slept with this man.
Your Honor, she told me
No,
that
I
she used to.
didn't.
She told me she used to sleep with him before. She cut it off.
No, I
That's
did
just what
not.
she told me.
I
I said, well, ain't no, because I told her ain't no man gonna be giving her no money without him not getting nothing in return. She said,
I told
oh well,
him that we
he's
had
just a friend of
sexual
the
contact,
family.
never intercourse.
Sexual contact. What was sexual
Never
contact?
intercourse.
What's sexual
Do you don't know the
contact?
difference between sexual
What's
contact
sexual
and intercourse?
contact? That means you sleeping with him.
Sheesh. You might think, hold up, this can't get worse than this. And you would be very wrong, because this web of sugar daddies and babies and boyfriends just gets even weirder with everything Nichols says.
Everybody done told me.
Okay, well, y'all so much talking about my sugar daddy. I haven't lied to either one of them about this man.
Yes, you did
okay?
lie to the. You lied to the sugar daddy about me, and you lied to me.
Yeah,
first.
I lied to him about you, but I did not lie to Sean about him.
So why
You
was you-
said you lied to the sugar daddy about Mr. Young.
Yes, I
Because
did.
he didn't want him to get cut off.
What did you
all the-
say?
I told him that he was my cousin.
If it's the truth, then it's the truth, baby. Let's talk more about the truth. Judge Lauren administered a lie detector test on Nichols to find out if she was telling the truth about her sugar daddy, and here is what the test said.
When we asked you if once you began a sexual relationship with Sean, did you have sexual intercourse with anyone else, you said yes.
Yes.
Wow.
And the lie detector determined you were being truthful. Mr. Young, you seem surprised by that.
No, I don't. I'm saying wow because I already knew that.
Well, that seems convenient. Now let us find out the truth. Is Mr. Young the father, or is the father some older gentleman who Nichols calls her sugar daddy? Judge Lauren has the truth for us.
Mr. Young, you are her father.
Surprise, surprise.
And I see tears in your eyes because what do you feel in this
Because, like, his dad wasn't in his life. So he should know that how I would feel, how his mom felt. Break the cycle.
Now we know this is your biological daughter.
Yes, ma'am. That's what
You
I'm
can't keep going on the way you going. This little girl is gonna grow up with all of this negative energy surrounding her.